Hello my crafty peeps, it's Cheyenne from ecdesignstudios.com. I've got a rather romantic card for you today, and it is kind of product heavy, but you know, I've been doing more easy, simple cards, so today I wanted to do something a little bit more than that. So let me go over some of the supplies. Going to be using the Picture Perfect stamp set. This is from the annual catalog. They are multiple step stamps. So we're going to be using the Rose. So it's these three here, and the Dream Without Fear, Love Without Limits. I love the quotes in this. They speak to me. And we're also going to be using this lacy stamp here from the Delicate Details. This is from the Sale-a-bration brochure. Loving this so much. So from January 4th to March 31st, for every $50 you spend, you qualify for one of the products in the Sale-a-bration brochure. So that's how you can get a hold of this. Free stuff, people, free stuff. It's a good deal. Going to need the Bitty Butterfly Punch and the Elegant Butterfly Punch. Let's see, blocks I'm using are D, C, B, I, and G. And you don't have to use all of these. Like, you know, this one is probably a must for the Delicate Details because this is the one they fit on. So this is the I block. Everything else will fit on a D block. It is kind of nice to have blocks that fit your stamps so that you don't end up rocking as much. But you know, go with what you got. Let's see, what else? We're going to need our Versamark, our embossing buddy, and some white embossing powder along with your heat tool. I'm going to be using the Elegant Dots embossing folder. This is an optional step. So if you don't have a big shot, you don't have to do this, but I do, so I'm going to show you that. So yeah, you're going to need the big shot with that. Ink colors I'm using are Melon Mambo, Flirty Flamingo, and Pink Pirouette. I've got a Wisteria Wonder cardstock base, so it's a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, cut at 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 to make a standard A2 size card. I've got a piece of Very Vanilla. This is just 4 1/4 by 5.5. As long as it's enough for your butterfly punches, you're fine. So it doesn't necessarily have to be this big. Let's see what else. We've got our Whisper White cardstock. Now this is, let me check my notes, 4 by 5 1/4, and then I've got a sheet of vellum, and it's 3 1/4 by 4. All right, let's start off with some heat embossing, shall we? So I'm going to be doing that on my vellum. So I'm going to get my embossing buddy and get that on there. And now let's get our Versamark out, and we're going to be using our laced Delicate Detail stamp. So with the long stamps, big stamps, it's better to bring the ink pad to the stamp. So I'm going to ink that up pretty well because I want this to be nice and pretty and delicate. So I am just going to go down to the bottom, and I'm going to have to do this twice because it's not quite long enough. So I'm going to go right up to that edge as close as I can get. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it down. With these bigger things, you do want to do some nice even pressure. Try not to rock it any more than you have to. Alright, and now I'm just going to ink up just a little bit more, and I'm going to try to line it up. You probably won't be able to see it too well on camera, but you can see the reflection in real life a little bit. Alright, so that's that. Let me put my Versamark away because we're done with that. Let's get our clear embossing powder. I've really got to get those 3M cable clips to put in the lids of these so I can get my spoons in there so they're not like sitting in the embossing powder. Someday, someday. Alright, look at that. That is so gorgeous. I seriously love this stamp set. And heat embossing on vellum is pretty awesome. All right, so I'm going to start up my heat tool. I'm going to let it get good and hot because vellum will really warp if you're not careful. Oh, look at that. So I'm going to get it good and hot before I bring it on so that, you know, the faster that this will all melt, the less warp it's going to be. So let me do that. Okay, so that's done. It's cooled down a little bit, so you're not going to smear the powder. And now I'm just going to take one of my heavy blocks. Actually, we'll get a bigger one. And I'm going to place it over it, and that'll help to flatten it out. So I'm just going to put that off to the side while I'm doing the rest of the card. And it'll, you know, be nice and flat when the time comes. It's not warped too bad, but it's enough. All right. Now we're going to take our piece of Whisper White. All right, we'll use that side. Now, first thing I'm wanting to do is going ahead and getting my sentiment in. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it in Melon Mambo. So I really love this sentiment, you know. It's great. So I'm just going to stamp it over here in the bottom corner. There we go. Give it a nice press. Straight down, straight up, and voila. Okay, now above this point we're going to be stamping some flowers. We're basically making some background paper, but the vellum is going to lay over top of it, so it's going to have a nice diffused look. Alright, so I've got my 3 colors. I've got my 3 stamps. Okay, now the biggest one, the first one you want to do is the one that's the most solid. And here, let me show you. On the little pads here, there is like 1, 2, 3 for each of your stamps, so it's on there. And they each have like this little like jetty out point on the stamp. That's where you're going to want to line everything up. So, you know, it's really not that hard. A lot of it is just being patient and taking time. So I'm just going to start stamping in a couple different directions. Now with the solid ones, you do want to, you know, let them set for just a little bit. But you are doing like 2 other layers of stamping over it, so it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but you know, you want it to be pretty. You want it to still read as a flower. We're also putting the vellum over it, so it's not having to be like super perfect or anything. So alright, so let me actually zoom you in so that you can see these next steps maybe a little bit better. Alright, so now here's my second one. It's got a little less going on, and I'm going to stamp it into the Flirty Flamingo. Alright, so we've got these 2 little petals here, and that's what's going to line up. Take it straight down, little pressure, pop it up. Look at that. Gorgeous! Now, from what I hear, if you have a Misty tool, or Hampton Arts has made one, this is fantastic for that. I do have the Stamp-A-Majig coming in my latest order, but I don't have it yet. So I'm not sure how well that would work out with these. It might just be easier to just eyeball it. But look at all that dimensions that you get just from 2. Alright, now we've got our smallest little stamp, and it's going to go into some Melon Mambo. I also found that, you know, adding some Calypso Coral in this final step, so using Calypso Coral instead of the Melon Mambo, makes a gorgeous rose too. So there we go. That's just giving you that extra shadow depth. Look at how pretty. It's kind of a shame that all this detail is going to, you know, be kind of blurred out from the vellum. but you know, it's getting you the idea. So there we go. Look at all that gorgeousness. There are also leaves. I believe it's 2-step for the leaves. Nope, we've got 3-step leaves too. So if you wanted to, you know, stamp the leaves in there too, you could. All right, so we're done with our stamping. Now getting all of that set aside. So there you see. It's so pretty. All right. Let's see. No, zoom you out, not in. There we go. Now the next step we're going to do, I'm going to set that aside. All right, now we are going to take our very vanilla cardstock and we're going to run it through our Big Shot with our Elegant Dots embossing folder. So all you do is you pop it in like that and you run it through. Let me go grab my Big Shot. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the Big Shot. We're going to take our Big Shot platform. We're going to take a cutting plate. We're going to pop in our embossing folder with the paper in the middle. And then we're going to pop on another cutting plate and we're just going to run it through. And it's amazing what these embossing folders do to paper. Like, it just makes everything just so elegant and beautiful with very little effort. So there we go. Look at that. You got all that texture. I mean you almost got a card, like right there, without having to do a whole lot of work. All right. Now what we're going to be doing with this is we are then going to be cutting out a couple butterflies from this. So I didn't want to go like too crazy, but I wanted the butterflies to have like a little bit of texture going to them. So I'm actually just going to turn it around. And I think I want 2 little butterflies. And I'm going to want 1 big one. So just give that a punch. And you see you've got, I don't know what, there we go. Butterflies with just a little bit of texture going to them. Alright, so there's my 2 little ones. And now let me punch out my big guy. So we're going to come up over here. Now there you go. But, you know, if you don't have a Big Shot, if you don't have the Elegant Dots embossing folder, you can skip this. You can just have the butterflies as they are, maybe ink up the edges, and it'll be all good. All right, so let's bring in all of our pieces. So, all right. I think I'm actually just going to cut along this lace detail a little bit. Once I find my scissors. There they are. Alright, so I'm just going to fussy cut. Not going to do anything like too fancy with this. I'm just going to kind of softly round out those little triangle bits. Alright, so you see I just cut the bottom just a little bit, nothing too big or fancy. And now what I'm going to do is take a stapler and I'm just going to staple on the vellum right up to the top. If you've got one of the little mini staplers, you can go ahead and use that. Actually, I think I'm going to do one more in the center just for good measure. And I'm going to, you know, those are some details. If you didn't like the actual staples, you could grab like some ribbon and pop that along the top to hide them. Your choice. Like I said, I want a little bit of that metal going on there. I'm okay with that. I've got other techniques for adhering vellum too that I can show you at later dates. Alright, so now we're going to take our butterflies. I like to pre-curl mine up a little bit. So you're just kind of, you know, bending it around the body. And now I'm going to take my bone folder, just kind of gently flick, just like if you were curling ribbon for presents, just a little bit right on the ends. You know, nothing too spectacular, but it's just going to give a little something. And now I think that they need even more. So let's get some rhinestones and put these in the center. So we've got these strips here. Now this is like one long continuous strip here. So I'm just going to cut these so that it's 3 and then a 4. So the 3s, where it's the 3 rhinestones in a row, those are going to be for our little guys. So we're just going to pop those right there in the center. Now there we go. We got a bling bling going on because every card needs some bling bling. Alright, now I'm going to take my snail adhesive and put this all along the back of this card. Front, we're going to go ahead and pop that down. Alright, now we're going to get our glue dots. Where are mine? There they are. They tried to hide, but it didn't work. So each butterfly is going to get a glue dot. And now we're just going to, see, I think I want this one to be popped. Actually, no, I want this one to be more right over here. And I'm going to use one of the small ones back right here. And it's going to kind of help to hold down that vellum too. Not that it's going to make too much of a difference. And then we'll do I need to get my hands out of the way so I can better see for placement. You know what? I think, no, I want to cluster them down here. So we're going to pop that one, yeah, right there. So, okay, that is it for today's project. Let me bring you in. So here's our finished card. Doesn't it look precious? I am in love with the Picture Perfect stamp set. It's just wonderful. I can't wait to play with it some more. And embossing on vellum, I mean, that's just, it's precious. It's precious. I love doing that. And it also can give you some place to hide your adhesive when you're adhering vellum. But anyway, so thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please remember to like and subscribe. You know, give me that thumbs up. If you're already a subscriber, it's so great to see you come back again and again. It really motivates me to continue doing what I'm doing. And I love doing what I'm doing. So please continue to motivate me. And let's see, if you want to see the catalogs, the current Stampin' Up! Catalogs, I've got downloadable PDFs on my website. The link is in the description bar below, along with all the products that I used and the dimensions. That's going to be right in the blog post. I've got a link directly to this specific blog post down in the description bar. If you want an actual copy of the catalog that you can love and caress and have under your pillow when you go to sleep at night, all you have to do is place an order with me and I send those to you for free as long as you've placed an order within the last 6 months. Oh, I think that is it for today. Remember, it is celebration time, so get your orders in, earn your free products, and it's going to be great. This is going to be a great year. So that's it for today. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.